ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Namaste to all. So today is Vijayadashami. So I thought I will just give a message for Vijayadashami. So Vijayadashami itself is celebrated as a day of victory or success. So for a student of Vedanta, what is victory or success? In fact, you may have even received many WhatsApp messages about Dashara or Dashahara, like that. People are sending messages like 10 different things you have to win over. Nothing wrong in that. That is fine. In fact, as a student of Vedanta, we want that. So here, what do we consider as success? If we see that, for us, success is understanding the teaching of the Veda. Whatever the Veda is revealing to you about yourself, are you able to understand that clearly? And in the light of that understanding, is there any transformation in yourself? There has to be a certain self transformation without which the study of Vedanta is not really useful, correct? Because you can study Vedanta for many reasons. Scholars are studying even to get PhD. That doesn't mean they get what Vedanta can really give them. Many Vaidikas are also there, Pandits are there. They have great ability to remember things. Everything is memorized. They have learned so many Shastras. All that also really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Do you really want to know the Atma or not? It all starts from there. What you really want. If what you really want is not clear to yourself, at least your Guru has the responsibility to make it clear to you. Then only you are going to get what Vedanta can give you. In this, if you have been attending our classes, I have been telling you all the time that our fundamental problem is taking oneself as this limited individual. Taking this individuality as a reality itself is a problem. As soon as you get up, while you are in deep sleep, you have no problems. Nobody has any problem in deep sleep. In fact, deep sleep, if you sleep well and deeply, it is always a pleasant thing. You enjoy, everybody enjoys their sleep. But as soon as you get up and identify with a certain individuality, then all the individual's problems are starting. So what the Veda and Vedanta particularly are revealing is that you have to analyze whether that individuality is a reality. And how do we even define reality? That which never changes. Once you have known something as this, if it never changes from that, that alone is the reality. Now, if we apply that to our own individuality, it doesn't hold good. Because only while waking, you have a certain individuality. Even during waking, all the time you are not thinking you are this individual like that. In fact, whenever you don't think you are a wanting individual, you have some happiness also, even during the waking state. But in deep sleep, there is no individuality. In dream, you can take some other individuality. Therefore, first thing we have to understand is this individuality comes and goes. Therefore, that is also mithya. It is only an appearance in you. You are much bigger than this individual body, mind, sense complex. Whatever identity you have based on this body, mind, sense complex, you are much bigger than that. You are the limitless. In fact, you are the limitless conscious being. That is the vision. Now, to understand this vision, one has to go through a certain disciplined study of the Shastra with the understanding that the Veda is the means of knowledge to know this. Veda alone can reveal this fact that I am the limitless. There is the Pratyaksha, Anumana, all the other means of knowledge, whether it is sense perception or inference, they have no access to this. Veda alone has to reveal this truth about ourselves to us. And that we have to learn properly, allow that means of knowledge to operate. Now, what is the problem in this means of knowledge to operate and reveal this fact to you? The problem is your own mind. Because by nature, the consciousness which is appearing in your mind is limited by the mind itself and the nature of the mind. It is very natural for everybody to take oneself as an individual. As an individual, you are limited, you are wanting, and we all have desires we want to fulfill. For that, we have to do karma. So it is like a vicious cycle. It keeps going on and on. Here, success or vijaya, when do you have success as an individual? First, let us see. According to our tradition is what? It is only if you are able to manage your desires. Fulfilling all desires can never be a success. Nobody can fulfill all the desires one has, even though you may be the greatest Chakravarti of this entire world. Then also you cannot fulfill all your desires. Even if you become Indra, also it is not possible. So we should not look upon one's success in terms of how many desires I am able to fulfill. Instead, success is if you are able to manage your desires. Managing the desires means what? You take effort. Whatever effort is required in a particular situation, whatever is your duty, you have to first identify your duty and do your duty and be able to take the results with the prasada buddhi, with certain equanimity. If you are able to do that, you have success. Then you can say Vijayadashami is meaningful to me because I am able to take whatever comes to me in life with certain equanimity. I don't judge myself based on whether a particular desire is fulfilled or not, whether the result of a particular action is as per my expectation or not. All actions are based on certain expected result. There is no doubt about that. For that only we make effort also. There also there is no issue. But when the actual results come, be ready to accept whatever comes. And if you are able to accept it without any complaints as a prasada from Ishvara, then you have a certain success, certain maturity. You can consider yourself as a successful person. Now, if you are not bound by your desires like this, then you are free to look at yourself as the Veda is revealing you. Because why this raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, binding desires are called mala or impurities? Because the raga and dvesha, these binding desires imply that you are a wanting, limited individual. Understand that. Every desire, every binding desire, every desire which makes you think that unless I fulfill this, I cannot be happy, implies that you are a limited individual. And what the Veda is trying to reveal, your limited individuality is only an appearance, it is mithya. You are not a real, your reality is not this limited individuality. You are Satyam Jnanam Anantam, you are limitless, you are Purnam, you are whole, complete, full. Out of your fullness, whatever comes is fine. It is not binding. But binding desires are impurities, and you have to overcome, clean these impurities. How? By doing your duty with an attitude that whatever comes, I am ready to accept because it is coming from Ishvara. That is the yoga buddhi, that is karma yoga. So, as a yogi, first you have to be successful, but that alone is not enough. Then you have to continue Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. This pursuit cannot be one more pursuit in your life, then it will not work. It has to be the only pursuit. All other pursuits in your life have meaning only if it is helping you in this. So, this you have to choose to know yourself. Otherwise, every other accomplishment is useless. In fact, it's not going to help you because everything else is only going to give you limited results. In fact, it's beautifully said in Kathopanishad and Mundakopanishad also. It says, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyaha Na Medhaya Na Bahuna Shrutena. So, this Atma, you are not going to get by talking about it, okay, or even listening. If you do not really have the proper mumuksha, the desire for freedom, then going and sitting in a Vedanta class also is useless. If you think that I'll have some punyam by listening to Vedanta, then you will get only punyam. You are not going to get what Vedanta can give you. So just attending class also is not enough, or even conducting class also is not enough. Even let us say you are able to conduct because you have some Sanskrit knowledge, you have read some Vedanta books, or you have attended some classes, you can also conduct classes. Even that is not going to help. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya. You are able to remember many things. You have done adhyanam. You can quote all the shastras, left, right, center. Not enough. Okay, we are not saying that all these things are useless. Understand that. But this alone is not enough. Bahuna Shrutena, listening also a lot is not going to help. Whether you talk about it, whether you listen, whether you have memorized everything, it is not about gathering facts. Understand that Vedanta classes, you are not attending to gain facts like there are 3 bodies, 5 koshas. All these things are fine, but it is not a factual. It is not about gaining some facts. Objectively, if you are studying Vedanta, it's not going to help you. It is about yourself. Vedanta is you. It has to transform the way you look at yourself. Then only it has had some effect. Then it is successful. The study of Vedanta becomes successful only when the way you look at yourself itself has to fundamentally change. And when will it change? That same Upanishad Vakya beautifully says, Yamaiva yesha vrinute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vivrunute tanum swam. So, yeshaha yamaiva vrinute, the one who chooses this alone. You have to choose to know this atma. Also like that you can say, or the atma has chosen you. Like that also we can take, because there also Ishvara Anugraha is required. Paramatma has chosen you to know. Like that also we can take, but more appropriate is you have to choose to know. Unless you choose to know this Atma, unless you have the mumuksha, the desire to be free from all limitations, unless you understand your fundamental problem, if you don't even understand your problem, you are not going to solve it. So you should understand what your issue is really and seek a solution for that. That means you are choosing Atma over everything else. That is the only Purushartha. Moksha is the only Purushartha which makes sense. All other Purusharthas are all transitory. You can do your duty still with Yoga Buddhi, no problem, but keep moksha as the goal always. And that will really, then only you will make sure that you gain this success. Correct? So, that is what I want you to understand. You are all attending classes. Many of you are attending many classes, which we are very happy. We have started, in fact, this is the 5th anniversary. We started uh, in 2015 Vijayadashami day. Now 5 years, and some of you have been attending for 5 years. I think few people are there. Uh, they are all attending from the beginning, and many of you are also attending for many years now. In between, you may have joined. So whoever is attending without giving up, correct? See, all these things require, any accomplishment requires continuous effort over a period of time. So that you should keep on going. The study of the Shastra is the only means of knowledge which will give you the limitless. Everything else is less compared to that. And if you don't know your own limitlessness, the loss also is limitless. So keeping that in mind, I wish all of you on this Vijayadashami day that you all should continue your study of the Shastra and gain whatever Shastra can really give you. Shastra can really give you total freedom from all limitations. You don't have to fulfill anything to be happy because you are already the very source of all happiness. So that happiness all of you should have. The Swarupa Ananda, it is purely in the form of knowledge. And that knowledge may Goddess Saraswati has to grant. With the grace of the Goddess only, we can gain this knowledge. That there is a story in Kenopanishad also. Some of you who have attended the class will know. Right? So even the Devas were very haughty after a victory, and then they were shown their place by a Yaksha. Yaksha is Brahma Swarupa there, and then to know that they took the help of Uma, the goddess. So it is there in the Upanishad itself. With the help of the goddess, with the grace of the goddess only, we can know our own Swarupa, the Brahma Swarupa, and that I hope all of you will have this grace and continue with the Shastra, Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. How long we cannot say that. Till the time, right now, if you say, if you ask a common man on the road, who are you? He is going to give his biography. He is a human being. That identity is so strong, correct? Instead of that, when it is naturally your identity is that you are Brahman, you are the limitless. Till then, this repeated Shravanam, listening to classes, Vedanta has to continue. It has to become Sahaja. That's what we say Sahaja. Sahaja means by, even if I wake you up in the sleep and ask you, who are you? You have to say, Aham Brahmasmi. That is the Sahaja. That is how the identity has to change. And then you have gained everything, whatever is to gain. This life has become Saphala. It has become successful. So I wish all of you this success. Whatever the Shastra can give, please take it. Shastra is very, very kind and compassionate, and gurus are also there to teach, but you have to then be ready to take it. That's all. So I hope that all of you are ready to take whatever is revealed by the Shastra, and all your efforts in knowing yourself should become successful. So I will now hand over to Sri Vidya so she can continue her class, I think. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.